What seems to be the problem, officer? Is it my big fat Hi, ugly. It's me, Bussy, and welcome back to Hot or Hot. And today we'll be reviewing episode 2 of RuPaul's Drag Race UK Season 3. Today our queens were challenged to act and dance in a live action performance called Dragoton, which kind of felt more like a fever dream than anything else, and the runway category was Red Carpet Showstopper. We'll be breaking all of that down, and then at the end of today's analysis, we'll be sipping some hot tea originally spilled by Willam that could explain why this episode felt so chaotic, and then might hint at troubles ahead. We've got a lot to cover, but first, a quick word from today's video sponsor, Philo, a live cable TV streaming app with built-in DVR that allows you to watch and record your favorite shows in their current seasons. I love Philo because their options are endless. There's over 60 channels built into it, like Comedy Central, MTV, and AMC. And you know what AMC means in October, right? Fear Fest. Which means it's time to snuggle up and watch scary movies with a friend or two. Catch scary movies from iconic franchises like Final Destination, Halloween, and Stephen King classics all month long on Philo. And if horror isn't your thing, then you can always just take a more relaxed approach to fall TV with House Hunters and Food Network. Cookies. Best of all, Philo is only $25 a month, which means switching over to Philo can save you hundreds of dollars on your traditional cable bill. And when you use my code, BEN1MONTH, you'll get to try Philo for free for 1 entire month. So what are you waiting for? Grab the popcorn and click the link in the description of my video to try Philo today. Thanks Philo for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get pumped up. First up, it's Choriza. In the main challenge, I think she was a definite standout of her group, the Ride or Dies. So good, in fact, I was actually shocked that she didn't place in the top 3. But I guess the judges were just too hung up on how allegedly bad her 2 group members did. But we'll get to that in a second. Choriza, this was hot. On the runway, she says she's giving us a look inspired by traditional flamenco, complete with a piñata, which is like a little headdress comb, which would usually be plastic or metal with some jewels in it. But hers is made of hair. I think you have to be really careful when you start combining all these different patterns, textures, and references into one look. But what could have been messy turns out is a work of art. I will say I didn't necessarily get red carpet from this look, but she was a definite standout on the runway, and I think it was spicy hot. Next up, what the f***? It's Elektra Fence. Okay. This is where things start to get crazy. Elektra gets red for getting ahead of everybody else in the main challenge, which wasn't something that I actually noticed, but on watchback, the judges were right. She was 1 or 2 beats ahead of everyone else every single time they did a wide shot. But then again, this challenge was so chaotic that it was hard to tell who was and was not doing what they were supposed to do. I mean, the last act of the challenge was just the entire cast pretending to be malfunctioning robots. So yeah, if we're going on technicals, this was a rat, which must have hurt because she was one of our trained dancers. On the runway, she's giving us beautiful, dirty, rich, and intergalactic. Literally Lady Gaga in that music video, but make her a Jedi. As the judges pointed out, this wasn't a great look, and you don't need to look at it from space to know that. But you could see that thigh pad from space, which if you were anywhere in the vicinity of her while dancing, she'd knock you out with. This look was a rat. Next up, Paris, London, Milan. Vanity Milan. Vanity is our 3rd final member of the Ride or Dies and the 2nd trained dancer of the group. Instead of reading her choreography though, the judges decided to go in on her hair and outfit, and I was like, is this an acting and dancing challenge or is this a runway challenge, girl? Y'all need to make up your minds. Was the outfit a little bit too glammy for a workout? Maybe. But none of the 3 in this group were matching. Plus it felt a little weird that they didn't critique anyone else's outfit in the main challenge. Outfit aside, did her performance make me break a sweat? No. But definitely got me warmed up, so I'm gonna give her a hot. On the runway, the judges go in again. The sequel. She is in this gorgeous lilac gown that she says is referencing Beyonce at the Met Gala, which could have been her 2012 or maybe her 2015 look. Definitely you can see the inspiration in what she was going for. Plus, my God, she looks gorgeous. The only critique worth giving to this look is that maybe the necklace was not needed. I just did not understand why the judges were so hung up on vanity. Surely they were on crack, right? This look is hot. Next up, ho ho ho, it's Kitty Scott-Claus. In the challenge, she was complete and utter insanity, which is exactly what she should have been for this challenge. She was giving me loud, crazy workout instructor realness and definitely deserved her top spot this week. Maybe even the win. But we'll talk more about that later. This was hot. On the runway, she's giving us a direct reference to Marilyn Monroe in Diamonds Are a Girl's Best Friend from Gentlemen Prefer Blondes. I know, right? I think she looks really pretty. Does the gown fit perfectly? No, there does seem to be a little bit of extra fabric at the top, which, as Michelle pointed out, maybe was a little bit of a fatal flaw for her because it exposed some of her corset. Maybe it was borrowed, maybe she just didn't air up her tits before she hit the runway. Who knows what happened, but I do still think this look is a VVS worth buying. It's hot. Next up, is she the drama? It's Krystal Versace. It was, really interesting how they kind of set her up for failure at the beginning of this episode. Ru was having her dig through baskets of items that could be found at a grocery store to find cards with kind of negative superlatives to hand out to the queens. Like, Ru basically asked her to point out the ugliest bitch in the group and then explain why she did it. Like, wouldn't it just made a lot more sense the entire group had voted on these superlatives? Kind of like how they did in All-Star 6? Anyways, production setup or not, Krystal does end up making fun of Victoria's size, which was definitely wrong that she said that, but it was nice that they had a little conversation and cleared things up later in the episode. I think how calmly Victoria handled that whole situation did a lot to demonstrate how emotionally mature she was, and also a great person for not taking it too personally and instead turning it into a learning opportunity for Krystal and everyone watching. As for the main challenge, Krystal was in the best group of the bunch. I cannot stress how much better they were than the other two. That said, she does continue to surprise. I didn't expect her to be such an amazing lip syncer last week, and I didn't expect her to bring so much energy into this challenge, which isn't a read, it's just an observation on her age and general demeanor. Krystal, this performance was hot. On the runway, show-stopping, glamorous. She's the only Hollywood starlet. It's hard not to look at her and just choke on the eleganza and perfection of looks that she serves. Like, there's just not a sequin out of place. And as it turns out, not skipping chest day has its benefits. This look was hot. Next up, splish splash, it's River Medway. River was quite the little ham last week on the runway with all that pointing she did. So I was expecting her to bring a little something extra to this challenge, and she did not let me down. She did great, and I think it's an accomplishment in and of itself to not just be totally outshined by the powerhouses in that group that are Veronica, Krystal, and Kitty. River, this was hot. And on the runway, do I like your body? She's giving me like Anna Nicole Smith vibes. And it does feel a little bit outside of her box, but then again, we don't really know her that well yet. But I do like what I'm seeing. And this look is obviously a great turnaround from what happened last week with her little music note runway. This look is hot. Next up, Veronica Green. I have literally zero criticisms of her in this challenge. This was up her alley, she aced it, and she definitely deserved a spot in the top this week. Veronica, this was hot. And on the runway, she's giving us an 80 Curly's Goddess fantasy, but I will say the dress she's wearing feels a little too dated and youthful, almost giving me like young Disney actress instead of young Hollywood starlet. She looks pretty, but I would have loved to have seen her take this outside of the box just a little bit. I think I gotta give this a rat. That said, I do want to go ahead and give a little bit of context to Veronica's looks. She did an interview with Mirror.co.uk titled, Drag Race UK's Veronica Green had to beg, borrow, and steal to return to the contest. And in that interview, she simply explains that she didn't have the resources to get a whole entire other wardrobe of clothing to return to season 3. She also said, I didn't know this, that they were filming season 3 while season 2 was on the air. So like her return must have felt like a whirlwind. She didn't get to learn from her experience at all, much less have any time to earn any money to buy new looks. And the article ends with a quote from Veronica. There was a saying a few years ago that you don't need money to do drag, and that's absolutely true, but you do need money to do Drag Race. Next up, Orange, you glad you're watching Hot or Rat? It's Charity Kase. So she's the first member in our third and final group, and I do agree with what the judges said about her performance. She was going for this dumb blonde bit that didn't work because she didn't have the base foundation of what she was doing laid. It was nice to see her take a risk and do something different than everybody else, but at the same time, it didn't pay off. This was a rat. On the runway though, take my breath away. She is giving us the only 20s koi pond fantasy. She made this look, yet again, Charity Kase Couture, and I thought it was a flawless victory. The fringe, the stoning, the headpiece, my God, this is literally a 10 out of 10 look, and the judges had the nerve, the gumption, the gall, the audacity to tell her that it was wearing her. And I was like, are y'all out of your damn minds? She is the only one on the runway tonight that went outside of the box. And the only one to impress me, really, on the runway. Maybe they were just a little spooked out that the makeup looked identical to Sharon Needle's face, but girl, you can't hate on that look. I'm making another donation. Charity, this look is hot. I also loved seeing Charity clap back to some of the haters this week on Instagram when they were critiquing her for her tuck, or lack thereof, I should say. She wrote, just to let you know, I'm not trying to convince anybody that I am a woman. Even if I was, I know plenty of beautiful women with P words. I am here to represent anybody who doesn't fit into that socially enforced stereotype of what a gender should be. Next up, Vaday. She's one hell of a hot deal according to Krystal. In the challenge, she gave a solid performance, but being how bad the group, the Baby Sizers, was as a whole, girl, come on. The judges were probably so distracted by Charity doing her dumb blonde bit, Victoria sitting on a stool, and Scarlett doing whatever the hell she was doing, that they couldn't even take time to notice that she were performing the number correctly. Plus, I will say her energy was outshined by pretty much everyone in the ball busting group, so that explains why she's not in the top this week, but this performance was hot. On the runway, the look is perfection. Definitely red carpet, old Hollywood glamour, but it's missing something. I don't know, it just feels a little been there, done that. I've seen this too much, and I just think she's gonna have to modernize herself a little bit if she wants to compete on the runway with queens like Krystal and Charity. I'm not mad at it by any means, but I'm also not gagging. This look is hot. Like a soft hot. Our next big baby is Scarlett Harlett. In the challenge, I was shocked. Elektra shocked that she was not put into the bottom. Not being shady, just pointing out that she was actually offbeat every single time they showed her in a shot. Not joking. And if they're gonna critique Elektra for being too far ahead, I think they should also be critiquing Scarlett for being too far behind. She had good energy, but she was not in tune with many of the other queens tonight. This was a rat. On the runway, ain't she just the cutest little thing? She is giving me like Sweet 16. Nervous high schooler waiting to get picked up by their date for prom. She is endlessly adorable. This look is hot. And finally, Victoria's gone, which apparently is a pun that I was missing because I didn't understand that Scone can also be pronounced Scone, but I also don't understand the pun of Victoria being gone. Where did she go? In the challenge, she was there. She was suffering from a knee injury, so she couldn't really do much of anything besides sit on a stool. And she probably did her best considering her situation, so I'm not really gonna critique her performance. But on the runway, she maybe had an opportunity to shine. I think though, the pain she was in just came through that camera. It hurt me to watch her hobbling down the runway. Victoria, I really feel for you, girl. That said, this isn't my favorite look. It's a pretty simple hair and gown that, sure, says red carpet, but doesn't really tell me anything about Victoria and also doesn't match how outrageous her makeup looks tonight. So, I'm gonna give this look a rat. This week, the judges go for another hit of Krystal and give her the win again. Justifiable? Absolutely. However, I do think they kind of missed a good opportunity to hand out a win to Kitty or Veronica here, cause they were all great. Or hell, maybe even Choriza. She was totally overlooked. I think really her win is kind of explained by the whole storyline situation that we saw them set her up with from the beginning of the episode, turning her into a little bit of a villain, having a redemption arc, and then cementing that with the win. But that's just my over-analysis of what is a reality TV show. Welcome to Hot or Rot. Our bottoms this week are Elektra, Vanity, and Charity. Elektra, sure. Charity, sure. Vanity, girl, come on. Y'all quit hitting that Krystal. We saw her tell the story of how she really struggled with her skin tone growing up, later learning to love herself, and also how that all ties into her being the only black representation in the group, leading to her feeling a lot of pressure being there. Understandable. So in a way, I think her story presented an obstacle which her winning the lip sync represented her overcoming, also setting her up for more success later in the season. Like, I really do want to know how many of y'all watching really would have put Vanity in the bottom tonight over somebody like Scarlett or Charity. And concerning that lip sync, Elektra versus Vanity, I did react to this whole episode over on my Patreon at patreon.com/BussyQueen. That's my members only website where my patron family gets exclusive member benefits like early access to my YouTube videos, access to exclusive videos, access to the Bussy Queen Discord server, personal shoutouts, and more. Click the link in the description of this video to join today. See you there. But yeah, that lip sync, oh my god. Elektra, girl, she wore every inch of that stage out, but to her detriment. Vanity was an obvious win for the lip sync. She captured the energy and gave a really great performance, while Elektra was running around like a kid that had too much candy. Gotta give it to her for trying though. Splits, jumping off the stage, and breakdancing? Never seen that before. It's not right, but it's okay, I guess. Anyways, Elektra sachets away. Overall, this season is getting pretty crazy. We've already got an injured queen that's been rushed off to a hospital. Will she return? Who knows? And we've got this challenge that just felt under-rehearsed. Almost like they both learned the choreo and filmed the episode in the same day, which could be the case. Willam actually spilled some behind-the-scenes tea concerning this season over on Race Chaser a couple months ago. This is what he said.
Season 3 of Drag Race was filming over here, and they did 1 episode a day. They cranked it the f out because Rue had to film something else right after, I guess, the international season. Girls got injured because they weren't given time to warm up. Girls were mistreated. The girls tried to stand up for themselves. The mental health coordinator, which is required on reality television for the BBC, he said that this will be his last season on the show because like it was just so shoddy. They were treating the girls like And apparently the BBC is paid for by the taxpayers from the nation. So the fact that they're treating these girls like it's illegal to work them the way that they work them, the hours that they work them, and treating them how they treated them. So,
as Willam in Alaska call it, it could just be hot goss, but sounds like the truth to me. I think it's a shame they apparently rushed this season because the cracks in the production facade are already starting to show. But let me know what you think about all that down in the comments below. Who would your top and bottom girls have been? Who would you give in the win? And who would you have sent home? And what do you think about all that tea? And finally, my hottest hat on the runway tonight goes to Charity Kase. I also asked my patrons to vote for their hottest hot over on patreon.com, and they too voted for Charity Kase. As always, I want to say thanks to you for watching this video and give a special shout out to Lark, Aliel, Angel, Adaluda, Cyrus, Felicia, Jared Rax, JB, Joseph, Josh, JP in Dallas, Lara, Matthew, Maxilo, wow, Miss F. Neely, Robert Reeves, Scooby Snacks, Sailor, Steven, Tom Jaco, Tom Young, Topher, Triton, and Wheelie, who are all supporting me at my Bussy Queen Collector tier. See you later. Love ya. Bye. Oh, Britney Spears just posted a totally new photo on Instagram. Cag. I cannot believe...